Welcome back to the Crooked Spoon, friends. I'm so glad you're here. In today's video, I'm going to show you how easy it is to make an apple pie filling. I'm starting with Granny Smith apples. They are my favorite baking apple. They're readily available, I can get them all year round, and they have a nice tart flavor and a good hearty texture. So I can really control how sweet to make them and how much I want them to cook. I can keep them firm and crunchy, or I could bake them soft. One thing I notice about apples when we're preparing them for a pie is when I use a corer or one of those automatic peelers, they never seem to get deep enough into the core of the apple. So I really want to make sure that that cuticle is completely removed. Granny Smith are also a great option because they don't brown as quickly as other apples do. I'm trying to slice my apples as uniform as I can. Again, that will mean that they'll cook evenly and every bite of the pie will be uniform. All right, let's get started. This recipe is all about pre-cooking the apples for this apple pie filling. You can, of course, make an apple pie with fresh apples, but I've learned over the years that if I pre-cook my apples, I have more control on the final product. I'm starting my nonstick frying pan with about 30 grams of butter, and there were my apples that were waiting in that lemon water. I'm going to drain them before I add them to the pan. And by sauteing them, I'm going to soften them just enough. And again, you can do trial and error with this. Maybe you like your apple pie with a little bit denser, crisper apples. Or perhaps you like an apple pie where the apples are so soft they melt in your mouth. Pre-cooking them and using Granny Smith helps you regulate all of those characteristics. So as my 30 grams of butter is melting in the pan, I'm going to add my drained apples. This recipe calls for 900 grams of apples. That's enough for one 9-inch pie crust. And as always, I'll include my recipe in the video description below. You can check out my other videos on foolproof pie crust to make your complete apple pie. Now I'm adding 60 grams of granulated sugar. That's going to allow the apples to get a little sweet while they're sauteing with the butter. I tend to do a quick saute. I like my apples still firm and still whole by the time they bake in the pie. And my apple pie recipe does require baking for about 40 minutes. So I really don't want them disintegrating. You can see them bubbling. I'm giving them a chance to stay in contact with the pan. I want them to heat up and soften. Sometimes we tend to overmix things and don't give the item in the pan enough time to actually cook. Next up, I've made a slurry with water and cornstarch. This is going to help absorb all the liquids that the apples are producing. And when it comes time to cut your pie after it's cooled, It won't fall apart. It won't be runny. That bottom crust won't be soggy. So now I'm going to work fast because that cornstarch is immediately going to start thickening with the melted sugar, melted butter, the water, the juice from the apples. And I want to make sure that it's thoroughly cooked. So you're looking for the sort of white goopiness to turn clear. And then you know that you won't have that cornstarch taste in the end. I'm keeping it on a medium heat. Again, the heat is going to activate that thickening. And I'm trying to coat all of the apples in that butter, the sugar, and the cornstarch mixture. For the next step, I am going to turn off the heat now, and I'm adding sugar, cinnamon, nutmeg, and a little salt. And again, please go to the show notes for the exact recipe. Next up is some fresh lemon juice. And then finally, a little pat of butter. And I'm just going to incorporate this and mix it until I see all of those ingredients dissolve. And there you have it. This is your pre-cooked apple pie filling. Once it's cooled, you can use it to fill up your prepared bottom pie crust. And please check out my other videos for that pie crust recipe and to see how to assemble a lattice top pie crust for other fruit pies. This apple pie will have a complete top crust on it, and I'll show you in the next slide how delicious it came. Thanks for watching, friends. I'll see you in the next video. If you enjoyed my video today, please like and subscribe. The Crooked Spoon.